Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. It is Wednesday the 25th of June. Thank you so much for joining me. We've got a cold front on the way out of Australia, in fact, and you can see it quite clearly on the satellite map here. Now it's interesting, I had a comment from someone out of Australia yesterday for our Australian only video, and the headline for that was a wintry blast coming for the southeast, and she said it feels more like spring, not winter. Let me explain what is happening, because New Zealand's got the same thing going on. Subtropical winds coming down across the country. Northwesterly winds, you can see here the high cloud, the northwest arch, very clearly showing up as the wind comes over the Southern Alps and produces high clouds, sometimes quite thick. So mild weather around New Zealand, mild weather around the front, plenty of thunderstorms. And why are there thunderstorms? Because colder air is feeding into it. So basically you got mild air around the front part of it and the wintry stuff on the back end of it. And that is what is moving towards us in these sort of different sections over the next couple of days. This map maybe explains it a little bit better. Here is the high pressure zone east of New Zealand, a very big, powerful one stretching all the way up to our friends and our viewers in Fiji and Tonga, and going all the way down south of the country. So that's got a lot of reach, and it is reaching up to the subtropics and pulling that airflow down. Cold front here, where the two mix, that's where you're seeing those thunderstorms. And then the wintry portion between Adelaide and Hobart, and that is that big southerly flow coming through. So there are different sort of layers to this weather as it moves in over the next couple of days. Met Service have got a number of wind warnings or watches and rain warnings in force at the moment. Now this map could change over the next day or so, or even over the next 12 hours or so from when we recorded this to when you're viewing it. Just be aware of that. So you may start to see warnings and watches appearing around the North Island as well. Let's get into the forecast properly. Here we are for noon Thursday. We'll start with the wind from Banks Peninsula all the way up to about northern Hawke's Bay, Gisborne area. Strong northwesterly winds, gale in exposed places, maybe even severe gale. Could be a few power cuts here and there. Further up the country, still windy as well, but the angle of the wind matches the shape of the land. And so Northland can be windy, coastal areas of Auckland can be windy, but sometimes that sort of northerly flow isn't too bad for the top of the country, but it's borderline. There could be some wind warnings or at least a few power outages as a result of that. Rain-wise, all along the west coast there is rain, especially the top half. That's where you're seeing those rain warnings, and especially around the Tasman district, could be 200 or 300 millimetres coming through for you. And showers or patchy kind of rain around the North Island, more likely to turn to rain at night time, because look at Friday. Here is that main line of rain. So on the satellite map we just showed you, this is the line right here coming down over Whangarei, Auckland, New Plymouth and into Nelson. That's the area that's got all the thunderstorms. It's likely to change shape when it moves in, not be quite as thundery, but you could still have those big downpours. The other thing to note is how narrow it is. So you see these areas of yellow sort of around Nelson, Tasman, Taranaki, Auckland and parts of Northland. When you see the rain radar on Friday, that'll probably show some clusters of big downpours, and then in between it, not a lot necessarily going on, or just sort of normal rain. That's probably what we're going to see here. Isolated downpours, some of those might have thunder, and that comes in from the upper South Island right along the western and northwestern parts of the North Island. If you're in the east, dry and mild and a bit windy still, and in the South Island's east, cloudy and showery for Canterbury, but pretty settled for Southland, parts of Otago and Fiordland, even the southwestland, seeing drier, sunnier skies coming in, although it may still be a bit cloudy further to the north. So going into the weekend, low pressure off the coast of Otago and Canterbury. Now yesterday I said this low is a little bit messy and may still take a day or two for us to work out exactly the shape of it. Yesterday it showed low pressure around the central part of the North Island as well as the lower part of the South Island. Today, it's not really showing that secondary area of low pressure, but there is low pressure still around central New Zealand. That means instability, and the winds could still move around a bit. But the main feature here, certainly around Dunedin and coastal Otago, South Canterbury, a wintry southeasterly wind, temperatures down, snowback on the mountains and ranges at some point, and a bit windy. Those southeasterly winds pretty strong around Otago Peninsula, calm through central New Zealand, westerlies at the top of the country or northwesterlies, keeping temperatures up for you. By Sunday though, the cooler airflow comes in for everybody. The normal kind of weather. It's a little bit windy around Auckland and Coromandel Peninsula, coastal Waikato, those sorts of areas, Taranaki as well. Showers in the mix, southwesterlies, nothing extreme really that I can see in this map. And the South Island colder, calmer and clearer skies for many of you. But by Monday, the next surge of colder air comes up the South Island, but it's nothing too out of the ordinary for this time of the year. For the later part of June, here we are, what is the date here? 30th of June. So yeah, it's kind of normal weather. There's nothing in this that's too extreme. And this is a really big area of high pressure, stretching from Western Australia all the way up to almost Tonga. It's got two centres to it as well. And that's the reason why we're seeing this cooler southwesterly flow coming from south of Australia. As we get to Tuesday of next week, not a great deal of change. That westerly blowing around the southern part of the South Island, that might actually lift temperatures up a couple of degrees around the South Island by the Tuesday mark of next week. Not a lot going on in the north. Light winds for most places, maybe a little breezy through Wellington and Cook Strait. And we've got high pressure zones out to the west. Yes, there is a low trying to form off the coast of New South Wales. Whether that turns into anything or not, we'll have to wait another day or two. But for now, the high pressure belt, that is certainly dominating our weather as we go into the very end of June and towards the start of July. July may well be kicking off with high pressure. Now, yesterday we showed you how bright some areas have been with extra sunshine, others a little gloomy. Here is the map for today, the last 15 days of rainfall, but it's the rainfall anomaly map. So it shows you in percentage form over here which areas are drier, which areas are wetter, compared to previous months in previous years or previous Junes in previous years, if you know what I mean. So driest areas in the yellows, oranges and reds. So Hawke's Bay, especially around Napier to Hastings. Those areas are certainly drier than usual at the moment. Also North Canterbury and then some parts of Otago and Southland. Nothing too extreme, but just tilting a little bit drier than usual. Then you've got these wet zones around Auckland, Waikato and Bay of Plenty, and also some parts of Canterbury, which is a little more surprising. So there's been some very heavy rain in the last couple of months through central and southern parts of Canterbury. It's been a little hit and miss, but some very big rainfall numbers down there. And around Waikato, I remember going to field days and seeing the ponding on the farms from all the big thunderstorms and downpours that occurred around there. So that's the reason why we're seeing some zones wetter than usual, but many other places, rainfall has actually been a little down below where it should be. And that's why I said on Monday's video, winter so far is a little ho-hum. That's not a bad thing, unless you want it to be snowing for skiing, then it's not a great thing. For farmers and growers and those that garden, the weather at the moment is pretty good considering the time of year that we're in. That is all from me for today. Thank you very much for joining us. I'll be back again tomorrow with our Australia only update and our next New Zealand update. We'll take a closer look at those severe weather risks for the country here in New Zealand as we go into the next couple of days. We'll see you tomorrow.